So continuing on with the topic of adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, where the denominators are not the same, here's another problem, and it shows up as question 14 or topic 14 on your module. So here I have -2/5 plus 5/6. So right away I say, okay, I'm working with fractions and I'm looking at the verb. The verb is adding fractions. So if I'm adding fractions, then that means I need to have the same denominator. So I'm going to go through the same steps as I did in the previous video, where we talked about if you have unlike fractions, then you need to do something to make them become like fractions. So in our previous video, we talked about if you have different denominators, then you must find the lowest common denominator between them, and then you rewrite each of the fractions with its equivalent fractions with having an LCD of that number. So here, we're going to do the same thing. So question number 14, -2/5 plus 5/6. I'm going to write it down here just so that it could be a little bit bigger. -2/5 plus 5/6. So I'm going to say to myself, I'm doing adding, so I need like denominators. These are not like denominators, so I have to do work. So I need to ask myself, what is the LCD? So I look at the number 5 and I look at the number 6. And I say, what is the lowest common multiple that they have in common? Well, if you're doing this in your brain, you could write it down. So the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35, 40, yada, yada, right? The number 6, the multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, yada, yada. So again, I know this because I memorized it. So hopefully you guys are relearning, regaining your skills of multiplication. So here, 5 and 6, the lowest thing that they have in common is the number, ding, 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 30. So 30 is the LCD. So that means once you've figured out what the LCD is, now you are going to rewrite each fraction with the lowest common denominator, 30, right? So -2/5 here. So if I have -2/5, that's a 5. I'm going to change this to something with a 30 on the bottom. And same as the previous problem, to go from 5 to 30, what do I need to multiply by? Or you could just think of what do I divide? 30 divided by 5 will give me 6. So that means 5 times 6 will give me 30. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. I multiply by 6 on top, so I end up getting -12. So don't forget that negative sign that carries through. Next, I have 5, 6. So 5, 6, I need to write its equivalent fraction. So I have a 30 in the denominator. What do I need to do to get 30? Multiply by 5. Whatever you do bottom, you do to the top. 5 times 5 is 25. By the way, I know I'm going pretty fast on this because I'm kind of actually hoping this is more of a review or clip notes of pre-algebra material. So if I'm going too fast for you, feel free to pause and rewind and go back to it. So that's a nice thing about having this on video rather than in person, right? So now I'm going to rewrite this with these new fractions. So now I'm going to replace the problem that we started off with the equivalent fractions. So here, -2/5 now becomes -12/30. Plus 5, 6 now becomes 25/30. Voila! Now you have same denominator, and now you can add the numerator, add or subtract the numerator, and keep the denominator the same. So here, the denominator stays the same. So now when I add or subtract -25 plus 25,